Anisa, right? And forgive me if I'm pronouncing that slightly off. Again, my Arabic and and the alphabet and stuff like that is something I haven't accomplished. But inshallah, God willing, in the near future, I'll be able to educate myself and gain an understanding of the alphabet and Arabic itself, so that I can read the Arabic text in the Qur'an and be able to pronounce every term or all the terms correct and on point. So again, we'll continue. Here we are in Surah 2 Al-Baqarah, and we're talking about Ayah 103, verse 103 in Surah 2, chapter 2. We're talking about al-fitna, to disbelieve, al-fitna, to disbelieve after one has believed, or after a trial or affliction or calamity, right? It's worse than killing someone. To disbelieve in Allah after believing in Allah, or after you have went through a trial or tribulation and then you decide to disbelieve in Allah, right? It's al-fitna. It's one of those unforgiving sins right there, and we want to always, bring clarity to al-fitna, and we want to, put a scope on it right there, So that's the main point I want to talk about right now is al-fitna. Again, we're in Surah 2 Al-Baqarah, Ayah 103. For those interested, you can go and check it out and delve a little deeper into al-fitna. So now we'll continue. Surah 2 Al-Baqarah, verses 190 to 197. I just want to give a brief overview of what I was able to dissect from those verses as a whole. And before I start, I want to cite Tafsir Ibn Qatar is where you would go, and the book that you would need for furthermore studies into the verses and ayahs, the ayahs of the Qur'an, to gain a better understanding of the text and whatnot. And here we have verses 190 to 197, but verse 190 in Surah 2 Al-Baqarah, it has a supplemented verse in the Qur'an, which is Surah Tawbah, chapter 9, and verse 36. It's a supplemented verse that furthermore breaks down verse 190 in Surah 2 Al-Baqarah. And when you get to Surah 9, Al-Tawbah, verse 36, the footnotes at the bottom, it sends you to another two supplemented verses to furthermore clarify, what this whole verse is talking about and give you a better understanding. And again, if you want to get even more greater understanding, it's books like Tafsir Ibn Qatar that, can furthermore help you gain more understanding and knowledge of the verses in the Quran and, stuff like that. Inshallah, you will gain more understanding and eventually gain those books and accomplish, that. So some of the overview that I have for Surah 2 Al-Baqarah, verses 190 to 197. To fight in the way of Allah, but transgress not the limits, right? Transgress not the limits and don't switch roles is basically what I took from that verse, Fight in the way of Allah as a believer, but never become like the shaitan, like the jinn, right? Like the disbeliever. Right, I'll continue. We're going a brief overview from 190 to 197. To fight in the way of Allah, but transgress not the limits. Allah being the most forgiving and the most merciful. Verse 194 is talking about the law of equality and avoiding destruction by using wealth correctly. And then the verses continue talking about being ill or having ailments, which would be the reason why you might shave, right? Shave your head, shave your face, or whatever. If you have an illness or ailments, And then we talk about fasting, sacrificing, or feeding the needy, to compensate and whatnot for, shaving because you have an illness or ailment and stuff like that, you know, because we follow Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, you know, in the Sunnah of the Salaf itself, and you know, shaving is something is a